Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Resilience Space podcast. I am your host, Hephzibah Emereole, or you can call me Coach Z. Wow, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful, thankful that you have been on this journey with me and with the entire Resilience Space community from episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are in episode 5. And this is the final episode of the season 1 of the Resilience Space podcast. I am excited, elated, happy, energized, and enthusiastic about season 2. Yeah, that's a teaser. Season 2 is coming bigger, better, and it's going to be more exciting. We have guests, authors, entrepreneurs, leaders that would come join this conversation on resilience. Episode 1 and season 1, from episode 1 to episode 5, was just to help you know that your story is not over. In this episode, we're going to talk about keeping purpose alive. It's going to be a conversation on purpose. It's going to be a conversation. How do you identify your purpose, and what is purpose generally, and how do you keep your purpose alive? Yes, this is your girl Hephzibah Emereole, or you can call me Coach Z, and I'm just happy, grateful to God for strength, grateful to everyone that has been part of this community, the team working. Just so grateful. What are you grateful for, if I may ask you? Yes, let me go and ask. Okay, let's go straight into today's episode and today's conversation. Before I get started on the topic purpose, I just want to take each of us on a journey from when we started in the first episode. Episode 1, we talked about the title, Your Story Is Not Over. That was what we spoke about. And I mentioned how it's important to know that going through a difficult season, a failure, a bad, heavy disappointment doesn't ruin your entire life. It has the potential and the possibility, because I can't downplay any of the bad seasons you have been through, and neither can you downplay the bad season I have been through. But I'm saying that event alone doesn't have the power to alter the entire destiny of your life, because you have the power in your hands through your choices, through your decision, through your mindset. That was just what episode 1 was talking about. And if you missed it, you can go watch it. Okay, you have the power, and if you're a faith believer, you know you can partner with God to help alter anything that a bad season has, the effects it's had on you. And you can do this through the quality of your thoughts, changing your thoughts, renewing your mind, thinking about things and doing things, developing new habits and tools and practicing things that can help you overcome that difficult season. A difficult season is not meant to break you if you don't allow it to break you. And this is not me downplaying anything that you're being through. It's saying acknowledge the pain, acknowledge what you've gone through, seek all the professional help that you can seek. But the decision that has to be made to change the course of that negative season has to come from you. And you can tell yourself, I'm bigger than this, I'm better than this. Losing a job, going through a disappointment, a failed relationship, losing someone. I will grieve and grieve properly, but I won't allow that entire season to define me or to make me null and give up on life entirely. So your story is not over. I love that episode. It was my first episode. Can I tell you that I was a bit nervous? I don't know if you noticed, because I'm like, it's my first episode on the Resilience Space podcast. But I see that episode has so many views. So thank you all for supporting. Thank you all for being here. Episode 2. Let's go to episode 2. Episode 2, we talked about resilience. Yes, you're on the Resilience Space podcast. And we said, what nobody tells you about resilience. Is resilience just this nice fancy word that a lot of people are throwing out there? Resilience, building a resilient business, building a resilient company, being resilient this, resilient systems, if you're in technology, resilient that, cybersecurity and resilience. There's just so much about resilience. But I just wanted to have that personal conversation and say, resilience is not just that nice fancy word. There are certain things that entails or that encompasses the word resilience? How can you take what resilience means, which is bouncing back after a difficult season, according to the dictionary definition? How can you take that and apply it to your life? We talk about practical things that you can do. Resilience means sometimes taking a pause to reflect, to reanalyze, to re-strategize. Resilience can also mean changing. Let's say strategy, a particular direction isn't working. You can decide to say, can I take a different approach? Can I do something differently? Sometimes it can even mean changing careers. I'm not saying do that. No, I'm not giving career advice right now. No. But resilience is rebuilding. Resilience is sometimes you may have to start over. Okay? But it doesn't mean that you are not resilient. Even starting over, even doing something new, taking a different approach, a different strategy, is showing your resilience capacity. And sometimes being resilient means staying through the pain, staying through that difficult season, not as a victim, but as a victor and as an overcomer. As someone who knows there is something behind the storm. There's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And we spoke on practical things that you can do to understand what resilience meant, to apply it to your life. Some of them we covered extensively in the 3rd episode. Yes! So all of these episodes I build up intentionally to introduce the podcast, to hear from me. I just did not want to rush into getting people on board. No, I wanted you to hear from me. I wanted you to know the reason why we are having the Resilient Space podcast, because the goal is not just to hear from me alone. My plan and dream and desire and vision for this podcast is to create a space where people would grow. You learn from me, learn from other amazing guests that I would have on the show, but it's to have that shared community to tell you that you're not alone and to tell that your story is not over. So we spoke on what does resilience really mean. Said it's rebuilding, it's courage, sometimes taking a break, taking a pause, some of the time changing your strategy, doing something differently, finding yourself, understanding identity. We just went into all of the mindset thing and just identity thing. We went there. Then for the 3rd episode, we transitioned into starting over isn't starting from scratch. Yes, I know everyone's like, I started from scratch. Oh my God, it was very hard. Yes, I've lost so many things in my life, relationship, friends, jobs. Tell me like things, money, things, valuable things that I've lost. I'm just like, oh my God. And I've been in situations where I've had to start over. But until I went through different things, speaking to different coaches, counselors, mentors, therapists, you understand that? And they made me understand that, no, Hephzibah, you're not starting from scratch. You've had experiences. Some of the experiences are bad, so you don't want to take the bad experiences into your new season, right? But there's some lessons you've learned from that bad experience. Like, I don't want to sound so preachy, or maybe relationship. Imagine maybe there's a heartbreak or something that happened. If you really sit down to reflect on that bad thing, or that bad heartbreak or something that failed, you will realize, oh my God, I shouldn't have done this. Or maybe that person shouldn't have done this. But here in the Resilient Space, we don't blame people. We take the responsibility to say, I want to take charge. I want to do things differently. So I'm not just going to sit there and say, oh, he did this, she did that they did that. No, what can I do differently? That is the goal of the Resilient Space podcast. You're not just putting the blame and being a victim. You're saying, no, I want to do things differently. So that 3rd episode on starting over isn't starting from scratch was phenomenal. It was authentic. I shared my story. I told you, I shared a story where someone told me that had to tell me to go to a different project, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go to that project. And they're like, no, Hephzibah, starting over. You're not starting from scratch. You have your experiences, you have your skills, you have your wisdom, you have things that you're bringing on board that makes you a valuable asset to that new experience. And the moment we begin to see things in that way, we're not defeated when we're starting over. We are not under the trap of comparison. A person I worked with a few years ago told me something that I love so much. He was from India. He said, Hephzibah, comparison is a thief of joy. Yeah, so when you begin to compare yourself, oh my God, this person is promoted, blah, 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 blah. It steals your joy because you fail to see how awesome, how amazing, how unique, how powerful you are, how resilient you are. And that is what the space is here, to help you see yourself in a better way. Okay, then we went to episode 4 and we said the courage to keep going. Yeah. A lot of people think you need to be born with a certain level of courage. But I have read books, so many books. I have watched a lot of inspiring biographies and documentaries of famous people. And I'm like, wow. All of them had something in common. And what they had in common was they had fear in common. They had doubt. Some of them had imposter syndrome. Some of them had sometimes guilt. Some of them felt ashamed. But that did not stop them. And they did not stop at that feeling. They took the other step, which was courage. And over time, they developed confidence. One person that inspires me so much is James Allen from the Hard Knocks, the guy from Hard Knocks that does all these interviews. He inspires me so much because I've listened to him, I've watched tons of his videos, and I have seen how courageous, how confident, how resilient he is. And there's so many people that I can mention. And so for the 4th episode, we said the courage to keep going. And if you missed that episode, please go watch it. I shared so much. I loved it. Some of this episode blesses me, encourages me, myself, inspires me. Yes, forget that I'm the host. I just enjoy listening. And I'm not speaking from a place of knowing it all. No, I'm speaking from a place of saying, these are my experiences. This is the journey. This is what I've learned when I look in hindsight, when I retrospect. And so this is beautiful. And today, drum rolls, we are speaking on purpose, keeping purpose alive. What is purpose? Is purpose something you figure out at once? How do you know your purpose? How do you define purpose? Please put it in the chat. Let me know, what is purpose? What does purpose mean to you? And I'll tell you what purpose means to me, okay? Yeah, put something in the chat, please, for all of you. This is in the middle, right? This is off script. You're watching, please like, please share, please subscribe, okay? I know you are waiting for me to say it at the end, but I'm bringing it forward. Okay, let's continue. What does purpose mean? And I wrote down a few things here just to make sure I capture everything that I want to say. And some of the things we're going to explore today is purpose is bigger than your current season. Some people, I've heard people tell me, oh my God, I've lost my purpose in life. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've done all these things and I've failed at it. I just don't know what to do. I don't even know what is purpose like. I don't even think I'm a purposeful human being. I understand. I understand you. Let me get a definition from my book, The Resilience, A Journey from Struggle to Purpose. And by the way, if you've not gotten it, we have used this book as our text, like a reference. Because for those who are new here, this podcast started as a result of this book. And I'm going to read from part 5, which says purpose in every season, right? It says purpose is not a destination or a specific point of arrival. It's the rhythm of finding yourself, breaking limits, and becoming who you were created to be daily. And you will never know who you were created to be daily if you don't start. I also want to read another quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. I know he's late. It says, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So this is from Martin Luther King Jr. Okay. Purpose is found in the desires of your heart, your interests, and the things that bring you joy. So I'm reading a few excerpts from the book. Purpose often begins as a gentle push you cannot ignore, and sometimes it rises from hard or painful experiences. Purpose comes through your journey, right? And from the definition of purpose, it means an aim, an intention, or something to keep in view. And that this meaning, you can trace it back to Old French and Latin roots. Purpose is not a grand announcement. It's not a fully mapped out plan. It is not perfection. It is not knowing the next 10 years of your life. Purpose is not a destination we get to at once. It's your daily intention, the direction of your heart, and the reason behind your steps, even when those steps feel small. There's so many words out there about purpose, and people are really trying to figure out their purpose. For people who are people of faith, they're like, God is my purpose. God is unveiling my purpose to me. But even if you're a person of faith, he unveils it in bits and pieces. And that is why there's a superpower up there, okay? That unveils things. Because if you know how the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life will span out, you would not even need God. Because you're like, I can figure everything out. I know what will happen tomorrow, next tomorrow, all of that. You can plan, yes, but there's something much bigger than us in even understanding purpose. And so when we're thinking about what's my purpose, what's this, I want you to give yourself the space to also know that sometimes you don't have the entire full picture of your purpose. So rather than stress your brain out on what you don't know, can you start understanding purpose from what you know, from what you're doing right now? And don't just sum that up based on what you're doing. Think about, what else can I do? How can I bring value to a space? How can I contribute to another person's life? I want to sometimes sum up purpose of humanity, of the world, is making the lives of other people better. And it could be through your work, through your service, through the things you do, making people smile, gifts. That is the entire purpose of humanity. That is what makes us work together. That is what makes us live together. Making a place better than you left it. Contributing to something that is worthwhile. If we understand it from that point of view, that purpose is value. Purpose is, what can I do differently? How can I take advantage of my current situation to contribute, to add value? For people who are people of faith and believe in God, to glorify God, to let my light shine, to be an asset, not a liability. When we start thinking about purpose in that way and in that manner, we see that purpose doesn't become too complicated. And mind you, I'm not saying purpose is your job. Purpose and your job can be part of your purpose, but you can't sum your entire life to a job, to a title, to your company. It's much more than that. It's bigger than that. So when we start looking at purpose in bits and pieces and breaking it down, purpose becomes less complicated, and it helps us move in bits, in pieces, and continue to honor our journey. I hope that sort of like breaks it down. I wanted to do a deep dive analysis on purpose because I've had this question. People are looking for answers on purpose. We're asking, and it's good you're asking, but instead of being in that space of always saying, I don't know my purpose, can I tell you that you're actually working in purpose? You haven't seen the full thing of your purpose, right? Because we are all on a journey, but the little things you love, the things that interest you, the aim and the desires that are of good and not evil, right? The things that you want to do to help humanity, to help the world, is all part of your purpose. There's certain desires that only you can do, and only you know, and only you can do better than anybody else. Only you can do it best. It's all part of that grand picture of your purpose. And that's why your purpose is different from mine. And my purpose is different from yours. But we can collectively work together while we're achieving our unique purpose. Those are my 2 cents on purpose. I want to speak on 3 things, because I like to keep this podcast and every conversation and episode very practical. How can we keep purpose alive? Because let's be honest, we can lose purpose sometimes. We're like, I don't feel purposeful today. But purpose is not a feeling. But at the same time, I acknowledge what you're feeling. I do understand. Sometimes that feeling is discouragement, is despair, is frustration, is tiredness, is not knowing, uncertainty, and it can be annoying, very annoying. When we have all those feelings and all of the ups and the downs and all the tides and things not going according to plan, I want you to understand that even in the difficult season, there's still purpose in it. I'm like, Hephzibah, what are you saying? Do you mean that the difficult thing that broke me is purpose? Yeah, because you can learn from it and move on, and you can rebuild your life after that difficult season. And tomorrow your story can inspire another person. Like, I went through this, I went through that. I recently read a book from a popular man against all odds, and he said he was suicidal, almost committed suicide, did a lot of things, but today he's a millionaire. This is Jeff. Jeff had an inspiring story, and I met him in person, and after reading his book, I was like, wow. And I'm going to put probably the name of the book so you can get it as well and be inspired, because that's what we do here. Purpose is bigger than your current season. And I don't know what your current season is. Your current season may be so good, so nice, so rosy. I love it for you, sis. I love it for you, bro. It's bigger than that. to be honest. It's good you're basking in wealth, in abundance. We all love it. That's what we want. But it's also bigger than that. The question you ask yourself in that season of abundance is, okay, how can I translate this season of abundance into doing something? Into making an impact, into being valuable, into helping other people, into finding what gives me joy, what makes me happy as a person. Personally, is adding value and making other people happy based on my limits and capacity, okay? And if your current season is that of pain, I've been there. Sis, bro, girlfriend, my bro, I've been there. Mom, dad, aunt, sister, uncle, friend, future partner, I've been there. I know what it feels like to go through a difficult season. And sometimes it can feel like you've lost your purpose. But I want to tell you that no, you haven't lost your purpose. That difficult season is training you and building you, and it's part of the purpose story. And it's part of your journey. If everyone comes on board today and tells you how they have been successful from right the time they were in their mother's womb and they didn't have any issue, they didn't have any challenges or nothing, we're like, bravo, well done, bro. That kind of look, you're like, well done, bro, I see you. But you're like, because you're wondering, so why are you telling me if you've all had a rosy life? That difficult season just makes you human. If I tell you that I've cried, I've had difficult moments as well. It just makes me human. And these are some of the things you can relate to. So your purpose is bigger than your current season. But in your current season, you want to ask yourself, what can I take from this season? What is this season teaching me? How can I use what I'm taking from this season to build myself, to contribute to another person's life, to plan for my next season? After going through all the roller coaster, I had to be honest with myself. I'm like, girl, you can cry all night if you want to, and life is going to move on. Everybody's going to move on. Or you can decide to take the lesson that you've learned and rebuild your life. And I decided to choose the latter. And I'm not telling you that I chose the latter and everything was all rosy. No. I chose the latter sometimes even in tears, even in pain. Because I can't just stay and be still in pain. It doesn't mean I'm not grieving or I'm not pausing to take rest and to seek the appropriate help. When I need to do that, I do that, okay? But I can't dwell in pain and allow pain to redefine me. I'm going to get up and smile. I'm going to get up and record my podcast. I'm going to get up and do all the things that are fun. I'm going to get up and help the people that I can help within my capacity. Purpose is bigger than your current season, especially if you're in a dark season. And if you're in an abundant season, I love it for you, okay? That is good. That is amazing. Your purpose is bigger than that. Ask yourself, what can I take from my abundant season into building, doing things, putting things aside, helping other people, into even finding new interests. In my abundant season, I was doing so much. We are doing outreach here, helping this family, helping that family. And this is not to brag. It's to say, I love doing that. I knew it was part of my purpose. And in my difficult season, I decided to rebrand, to find something else, carve out a different path, and allow the Holy Spirit to inspire me. And Holy Spirit is from religious setting, okay, like Christianity, okay. So because I believe in God, I'm a Christian, I'm a woman of faith, so I can call that. But even if you are not a Christian, this podcast is not religious, okay? It's not religious. You can find that thing that would help you build. For some people, is your team, your parents, your community, your support system. And we've spoken about all this in the previous episodes. So purpose is bigger than your current season, okay? Don't just limit your purpose to that current season, whether in abundance, whether it's seasons that of abundance or your seasons that of dryness. The dryness season will change to abundance, and sometimes abundance can go to dry season. Like, it's how we have winter, summer, autumn, spring, dry season, rainy season. That's how it is, okay? Second thing is, every season is preparing you. That's what helps you keep purpose alive. If I know that I don't know my purpose, I don't know, if I say I don't know like how my purpose would evolve in the next 20, 30, 40 years, because I just don't know the end from the beginning, but I trust a superpower, in my case God, that knows everything. And I know that my entire life purpose from a faith perspective is glorifying God and making him known. I trust him to figure out the other things and lead me. Okay, so I do understand that my current season, whether it's a season of abundance or a season of dryness, as some of you may call it, is preparing me for something bigger than me. for something greater than I am, for something much more higher. It is preparing me. So that's purpose. It is preparing me. Purpose prepares you, and it prepares you based on the seasons and based on the experiences and the difficulties, the abundance, the joyful moment, the positive memories that you build. Beyond speaking, I also have a newsletter that I run, and this newsletter, one time I was speaking on understanding the power of storytelling. And sometimes when you hear purposeful speakers and women and men and individuals on purpose, they don't just speak theoretically, they speak from their life experiences, from the stories that they share, and that is what makes it beautiful. So every season is preparing you. The third thing, keep building, because your purpose requires you to build. Whether you're building yourself, you can be a man or woman on purpose if you're not building yourself intentionally. Yes, take it from me. You have to be building yourself intentionally to be that woman that can deliver her purpose, to be that man, that individual, that person that can deliver their purpose. You have to build. So you're building yourself, you're doing something new, you're trying to navigate that situation and understand how to go through it. You are intentionally building yourself. And some other times, you're building other people. In building other people, we see it as, oh, I'm just giving my time, I'm giving all of that. Yes, it's true, and I understand, but see it as also building yourself. You're building yourself to be a person that gives. And that's why we have givers. You're building yourself to be a person that responds to the needs of other people. And that's why we have early responders, even in the healthcare. So you're still building yourself. And you're also building yourself when you're like, I've reached my limit, I can't do this again. You're also building yourself to know, I know when to set my boundaries, I know when to say no, and I know when to say yes. Purpose requires building. You need to build yourself, you build systems, you build teams, you build others, you build structures, you build a business, you build that. I'm not saying in understanding your purpose, you have to build everything at once. You build it bit by bit, because in building, you begin to see yourself. You begin to see a higher version of yourself. You begin to see purpose unveiling. Purpose does not require you sitting down still. Okay, there's a superpower in heaven that would help me, and you're not doing anything. Mind you, there are moments of rest, as I've mentioned previously. There are moments of reflection. There are moments of staying quiet, but that should not be your de facto mode every time. That should not be the only thing you do. You don't move, you don't act, you don't do anything, you don't make choices, you don't make decisions. There's nothing practical, you're just sitting still. You can't be a woman of purpose. You can't keep purpose alive by not doing anything at all forever and ever. We are meant to be purposeful human beings. And so if you have questions about purpose, I love you, sis. I love you, bro. You're in the right space. You're asking the right things. You are smart. You are smart, girlfriend. You are smart, my guy, my G. You're smart because you're thinking beyond yourself. You're asking one of the most asked questions in the world that so many people ask. Sometimes they don't voice it out. And I'm going to end this session in this podcast episode by asking you our favorite resilient question. The famous one we have. What is your purpose? And what does purpose mean to you? I'm not asking for perfect answers. I'm not looking for perfect answers, no. I'm asking so you can pause, so you can think, and so you can understand and say, okay, what can I do? Where am I at currently? Is what I'm doing purposeful? And if you're on the other side, you're like, you're hurting people, harming people, destroying lives, destroying properties, causing pain to people. Bro, girlfriend, you're not living purpose. Purpose adds values. It adds value. It contributes positively. If all that you do is causing other people pain, maybe you should just ask yourself, why am I causing other people pain? Is it coming from me? Am I bleeding? Maybe you actually need help and you can seek professional help. Maybe you don't want to hurt other people, you find yourself hurting other people. is genuinely saying, okay, I don't want to do this because I don't think I'm living a purposeful life. Can I find help? Can I find the support that I need? And you will find if you ask the right questions. Yeah. In a nutshell, keeping purpose alive starts from understanding purpose. And I'm not understanding purpose just for you to check a box. It's for you to sit down with yourself, first of all, and say, okay, I genuinely want to understand purpose. And I know purpose is not a destination you arrive at once. It unfolds bit by bit as you grow, as you develop, as you pick up new interests, experiences. You can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to live. This is me living purposefully. This is me keeping purpose alive with all the dreams and all the aim and all the vision that you have for yourself, your family, your community, the world at large. It is still part of purpose. And so in a nutshell, my friend, my brother, my sister, remember, purpose is not a one-time destination. Your purpose would unfold. As long as you keep at it, you keep innovating, adding value, but to yourself and to other people, you will find out that purpose sometimes doesn't come in the grand things. It doesn't come in the woo, halulu, halulu, hala. No, it comes sometimes in the little things. The things that you have that calling deep down. There's a witness in your heart that I need to do this. If I don't do this, I don't feel at ease, at rest. I need to help this. I need to do this. I need to support. I need to do this. Understanding, it comes from understanding that you have been called to live a purposeful life. So asking the question about what's your purpose is valid. I want to remind you that in all of the episodes we covered, from episode 1 to episode 5, it's just to remind you that your story is not over. And so you have the courage, you have resilience, you now understand purpose. You know that you're rebuilding yourself. And all those things are tools and practical strategies that you need to navigate every season, whether it's an abundant season or whether it's a difficult season. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for being with the entire TRSP community. And if you're new here, you're welcome. I want to congratulate you for going through the 5 episodes. And if you have not, you missed an episode, please go back and watch. And I just want to introduce season 2, drum rolls. Season 2 is going to be awesome, epic, amazing. We have a number of guests coming, authors, entrepreneurs, people who have been resilient. And my friend, you don't want to miss out season 2. So get ready. We'll be starting season 2 soon. Check out our pages on Instagram, on YouTube as you're watching me right now. And of course, follow us on Apple, Spotify. Follow us on all of our social media handles to stay tuned on all the things that we are doing. Instagram, YouTube. And please like, share, subscribe, and put your comment. What does purpose mean to you? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in season 2. Cheers.